Oh, there we go.
Thank you. Um, Hi, Pulliams, whichever one of you that is. We are going to get started. I don't know where chat is. We seem to be very much low attendance, very out of character tonight, but it is the week before winter break, not spring break. So we're just going to go ahead. Hi, Scott, and get started because I don't want to waste anyone's time, and people will join as they are able to join. So, Chrissy is not able to be here tonight. She has family stuff. So, I am going to pull up the treasurer's report. We're going to go a little out of order tonight because we do have a guest with us to talk about 529 plans. So, we're going to actually, Robin, we don't even have a quorum, so I'm going to skip you for now. And next month we can just do vote on 2 months. But here is the treasurer's report from Chrissy. And yes, I am going to be reading from a cheat sheet she gave me because that's how I roll. We did technically meet our membership goals. We were hoping to bring in 650 for the year. We're at 683, which is before the flash sale, which Kristen will talk about later. So, I mean, goal, but we still have bigger goals to come. Income fundraisers, flocking has brought in $423 and change to date. $220 since last month. Restaurant nights has been popular, over $100 more than last month, not including Chipotle, which I believe, and this is from memory, that it was $117 and change, and we just haven't received that check yet. Donations, we're close to that $500 goal, as you can see, 489. So midway through the year, that's about right. Events and services. Fifth grade sold donuts during election day, and so we need to, yeah, we do. I know Christy has some reimbursements and stuff, but they've in theory raised about $1,300. We owe some reimbursements and stuff that'll bring that number down a little bit. Events and services, fall grants were really the past couple of years. And I think, Scott, you're the one there, and you jinxed me because we were talking about grants and how you guys never had the full application. And the past couple of years, we have had more than enough grant applications until this fall. We had a $2,000 budget and we spent a little over 800. Ms. Nealon applied for all of kindergarten for some math resources for 3 classrooms. Ms. Borelli applied for some art stuff for all of 3rd grade, plus some stuff for her classroom. It's still only about $800 for our $2,000 budget. So we are very under, not for lack of trying. Administrative expenses, we did send a few reams of paper to school for PTA notices and stuff to go home. We had to pay for new checks, which was about $70, I believe. So right now, our bank account balance is still about $11,000. A lot of our expenses that we had planned, like the shade, like the soccer pitch. We are still waiting for the check from Transurban. The purchase order got approved late last week, I believe it was. So we should receive that check soon. But a lot of what we had planned to spend money on was spring projects, painting soccer pitch, and all of that stuff. So it should, our account balance is high now. It's not going to be come spring. And Christiane, or Scott as Christiane, yes. Staff turnover, I would agree. Uh, Hopefully encourage your kids' teachers to apply in spring or encourage them to apply as a grade level, because as a PTA, our goal is obviously to help the most students possible. So the ones that are grade level grant requests tend to be approved faster. But does anyone have, no, I can't I see myself on the screen and that's a scary thing. Does anyone have questions on the treasurer's report?
When do they do the spring ones? Like if we ask them to submit something, like what's the time frame?
Time frame will be, it could be what we make it be, right? So, and it's usually teacher spring grants and club grants. So we try and make it live and done by March so that by April, we're still funding stuff that helps this year, give or take a week or two. Not this time. Thank you. Uh, my other updates for tonight were Heritage Night and the cookbook update. So Heritage Night has been moved to Thursday, January 18th. We are still looking for people to help. We have, for those who may have had an older child, I have not. So we have tried to tone it down at the recommendation of administration and teachers, just to not do as many demonstrations. So our plan right now is to do cafeteria with food, and we will get that updated volunteer form out. Have cafeteria with the food. Basically, every child, Miss Nielsen is going to do the heritage stall that some may know from kindergarten and some don't know because they had a COVID kid. Every kid we hope will do a heritage doll to be hung outside their classroom along with their teachers, so parents can get some food, wander the halls, and then in the gym we hope to have tables for the different continents. So they'll vary. There will be crafts at some. There will be informational stuff. We've had some people volunteer to bring some costumes, not costumes, some typical wear from Japan or Bolivia or wherever. So we hope to have different stuff like that. So if anyone would like to help, please let me know. It's fast approaching. And with that, we are still working on our cookbook. We have about 30 recipes submitted. We hope to do a kiosk at Heritage Night so people can still submit them and can still do the book. I hoped to have the book published by now, but I think it was a little too ambitious and people were it's our first real full non-COVID year. So in the spring will be fine. But does anyone have questions on any of that? Okay, with that, I'm going to skip Robin with the approval of minutes because we don't have a quorum, and go right to our guest speaker, Cody, if you're free, if you're around. I see you there. To talk about 529 plans. And I'm going to make you a co-host for now so that you can share your screen.
Sure, and I will put my contact information in chat here.
Yeah.
All right. Well, good evening, everyone. Thank you so much for having me. My name is Cody Monarch. I'm coming to you from Morgan Stanley in Bethesda, and more specifically, the Monarch McNulty Group. We are a team of 3 financial advisors and 2 support personnel. We have experience of 38, 31, and 3 years. And we are considered to be we are recognized as a Chairman's Club team at Morgan Stanley. What that means is we have 1 or more advisors who are who are both top 2% revenue generators for the company, as well as having a long track record of success for their clients. And that is determined by length of relationships on average with people we work with. Tonight, I'm here to talk to you guys about the importance of planning for your children's education, specifically in the financial area, and the importance of starting early. So just to give you a brief overview, can everyone see my screen? So to give a brief overview, inflation's been a really hot topic lately. Well, the 2 things that inflate at nearly double the rate of education nearly double the rate of just the cost of living in general, are education and healthcare. And just looking at the graph on my screen of the difference between 1980 and today, the disparity is shocking, and it should tell people that simply saving money is not enough. And it's really awesome that there are specific vehicles that give you certain tax advantages in this realm. So just to look at costs in the 2022 and 2023 school year, you see that a public community college is a little under $20,000, and then going up from there, public in-state, public out-of-state, and private. And my first piece of advice to you guys, which is something that had to be hammered home to me, is don't sell your kids a Mercedes if all you can afford is a Toyota. I'm the product of a 529 account. I went to a public university, and I came out of college with no debt, and that is the biggest blessing I could have received. The reason I came out of college with no debt is because of all the different funding options. My parents chose to start early and take advantage of a 529 plan, which, as you can see on the screen here, while there are many options, the only one that gives you the real advantage in terms of getting your money in early, getting your growth over time, and not paying taxes is the 529. So what is a 529? The best way I can explain it is it operates similarly to a Roth IRA or a Roth 401k. You are putting after-tax money into an investment account that grows tax-free, and for qualified distributions is taken out tax-free. There are 3 major benefits here. Flexibility and control go hand in hand, and then, of course, the tax benefits. So first, I'm going to go to flexibility. It's really an amazing thing that anyone can contribute to plans for your kids, whether it be grandparents, aunts, uncles. Something that's happening a lot nowadays is people actually tell their friends, don't buy gifts for my kid, contribute to their 529 for birthdays and things like that. And there are no taxes on gifts. It does follow the gift tax laws. So this year it's up to $17,000 per person that's to be available to be gifted non-taxed. Next year it's moving up to 18, and those do double for married couples. So it is 34,000 this year and going up to 36,000 next year is what a married couple can contribute to their own child. Or, you can contribute 36 with your spouse or 18 by yourself, as well as having other family members and friends contribute. And that's part of the beauty of these is there are no limits on total contributions in an annual year, as long as funding of the account in total doesn't go over 550,000, which it generally won't. Most people just won't put that much money aside for education because, fingers crossed, costs don't get that high for a 4-year university. But you and your family can contribute to these accounts tax-free, and it allows you to get investment growth as early as possible. That's really, if you take anything away from tonight, start planning for your kids' education costs early. Moving forward to those tax advantages. The biggest thing I like to look at here is the estate tax benefits. your, grandparents love to spoil their grandchildren. Well, this is a way where they can contribute funds tax-free to their education. And, something that I specifically point out about grandparents is there is an accelerated gift provision of 529 accounts that allows somebody to give up to 5 years of the qualified funds at once. The only rule there is if a person gives up to the 5-year early gift provision, then they cannot contribute again until 5 years have passed. And if they can give 2 years and wait 2 years, anything like that, but you're allowed to give more than the annual amount. And again, get as much growth as possible, as much money in that tax preferred or tax protected vessel as you can. Again, this follows the federal gift tax. So money is going in tax-free. Neither side is paying taxes as long as you are within the allotted amount, which, like I said, next year is 18 per person, or 18,000. Looking at state tax, something very interesting about Virginia, it's considered a tax parity state. What this means is if you work in Virginia and you have a Virginia 529 for your child, you are able to write off up to $4,000 of income tax per year if you contribute $4,000 to a 529. What you're allowed to do is contribute $8,000 this year and have $4,000 of income written off both this year and next year. Or if you have 2 children with 2 529s, you can contribute $4,000 to each and write off $8,000 of income in this year. That is something specific to only 13 states. It's very, very nice that Virginia allows people to get this benefit for themselves.
I'm putting myself back on video just to emphasize that because my CPA husband makes me do that at the end of every year. He could do it in January after like the holiday spending, but the $4,000 per kid is a big thing in this house. And so he actually just warned me earlier today, not realizing what was happening tonight. It's like things are moving around in our accounts again. And this is why it's for 529. So it's a big thing.
Does it matter if one person works in Virginia and one doesn't? Like my husband is technically working out of DC, but I work in Virginia. Does that get tricky that way or not really?
So because it is per person, you're good to go on getting your $4,000 written off your income for this year. I believe your husband will also be able to do that because it's based on residence. If I had said works in Virginia and beneficiary Virginia, then I misspoke, but I do believe it is resident participating in Virginia plans.
Thank you.
Yeah, of course. And I appreciate you guys stepping in to really emphasize the importance of this because this is a massive benefit that Virginians get that I can sadly say in Maryland, I don't get.
Oh.
Moving forward to distributions. So first and foremost, distributions can be handled any way you'd like. You can have the money paid out to the owner and then you pay the institution. You can have it paid to the beneficiary, or you can have it paid directly to the institution. And when I say institution, qualified distributions will be able to be taken for rabbinical school, for cosmetology school, for any graduate programs, for 2-year community colleges, 4-year universities, grad programs. If you guys wanted to make a decision on education changes later, private school, as well as different trade schools. I mean, it has really expanded that these qualified distributions can be taken for any educational institution in the country that is eligible for federal aid. Going towards non-qualified distributions, I do have to say, if you put in funds and need to take your funds out for personal reasons or reasons that don't have to do with spending for child's education, your growth will be taxed as income, and there will be a 10% penalty on the distribution you take. So that is the one warning that it's important to plan, because if you need funds that you've put away there, it will come at a penalty. Your non-qualified but non-penaltied distributions, if your child receives a scholarship and you don't need all those funds anymore, you can prove that. And then for various hardship reasons, they will waive the 10% penalty. But again, even if they are long-term holdings, non-qualified distributions will be taxed as income, not as long-term capital gains. So that is something to remember.
And Cody, if I understand correctly, which is a very big ask, the other thing is if you have an older child that maybe doesn't use all their 529 funds, it can be passed tax penalty free to a younger child. Is that correct, or are there?
Yes, thank you. I should have
regulations?
mentioned that back in flexibility, but yes, you can change the beneficiary of an account at any time. You can roll funds from one 529 into another. So if you have two 529s for two kids or one 529 that you want to work for both kids, both of those are perfectly fine and neither will cause taxable events.
If one is like, let's say a Virginia 529 and one is, and this may be wildly specific to myself, a New York 529, because that's where like the tax breaks were, or the whatever it was, does it have to be state specific, or
No, you should
can
be good to
state?
go. It is not state specific when it
Oh,
comes to rolling funds from one to another or changing beneficiary. And one thing that I would actually say in that situation, it probably works more in your favor because of the income tax credit for Virginia, that you would just change the 529 in Virginia's beneficiary once that child has, gone through their education.
thank you.
Absolutely. So this chart right here, and I'm not saying that this is not to say that most people are just using what was this year's 5-year married couple accelerated gift to get a full 170,000 in. It's more to highlight the compounded growth you get of getting in early. Even just looking at the difference between newborn and 3-year-old is jarring, and it should tell you the importance of getting in early, where you can get this compounded growth over time and ideally grow more than the cost of education is going to. Moving forward, there is a new provision as part of the CARES Act 2.0 starting in January next year, that if you've had a 529 account with the same beneficiary for 15 years, you are allowed to roll up to $35,000 of that money into a Roth IRA for that child. So now you're not only funding education. If there's leftover funds, or, say we saw on the distribution screen, say a child gets a merit scholarship and you're not spending all that money, but you don't want to take an income tax hit on long-term gains, well, wait and roll it into a Roth IRA for them, and you're starting to fund their retirement with tax-free growth. So they are really, and when I say they, I mean the federal government, even though these are state sponsored plans, they are really going out of their way to highlight how impactful of a vessel this can be for investment. So no fear, you should have no fear of overfunding because of the flexibility of changing beneficiaries, and you should have no, and that goes on to also, you can hold it after your child goes to college and either continue to fund it or just hold it and take growth and then pass it on to their grandchildren or to your grandchildren when you may have them. And so I can't highlight enough how flexible this is and how much they have gone out of their way over the years in changing how these are viewed by the government to make them flexible and beneficial to people to use. I think the federal government is getting the idea that education institutions have gotten away with carte blanche on being able to raise prices, especially during this time of university being so competitive. And so they're really doing what they can to create a really positive vessel for people to be able to get the most out of their money. There are other options. I would say they pale in comparison. The custodial accounts are a thing of the past. Coverdell savings plans are okay. And while there are two different kinds of 529s, there was a really big issue over the last 2 years with the prepaid plans in Maryland. So I would recommend that people stay away from the prepaids in general. Maryland had some, as a state, had some investments that didn't quite pan out how they thought it would. They were illiquid and they could not follow through on what they had promised to parents in terms of having money ready when they needed it and giving them the guaranteed growth that they put on paper. And so the way to go is the college savings plan. These are state sponsored by every state. Virginia has an excellent plan. It's one of the best ones for for what my team tells our clients to do or leads our clients towards. Really just the 529 college savings plan and Virginia specifically it's a winner. Now Morgan
Cody,
Stanley, I'm sorry.
I'm sorry to interrupt, but before I forget, this PowerPoint, is this public facing approved? Can I send
Yes,
this out?
it is, and we have another 15 pages of disclosures after this last slide. So it is feel free to distribute, as well as the document that I sent you yesterday, the 10 things that people should know about 529s. That's all public facing marketing material. It's all you guys.
Thank you.
Now, I would love to work with each and every one of you, and I think myself and my team have a lot to offer. But to be perfectly honest with you, every state puts out 529 plans, and specifically the college savings plan. Every single state contracts with big banks to actively manage these target date funds. Unless you want to have an entire financial relationship with myself and my team, it is much more in your favor to go through the state and not pay us a 1% fee on managed accounts for this. I'm going to be perfectly honest with you. The education savings plan throughout the country, and again, specifically Virginia, they are extremely well run. These are great products. And if I could get anything across to you guys today, it is do it now, do it early, fund it, and get your growth over time. I'd love to open the floor for any questions if you have them.
Ooh, I have two questions. The first one is, can you use this for private high school as well, or is it just like upper
Yes,
level?
you can.
Very nice. And then for the rolling it over into an IRA, how does that work? Like, is it pretty straightforward? Like after they go to school or whatever, and you have money left over? Or
So to
do you
be
do that?
perfectly honest with you, that is a provision that goes into effect January 1st next year. So I have no experience actually doing that. But what is in the CARES Act 2.0 is that if a 529 account has had the same beneficiary for 15 years, then up to $35,000 can be rolled into a Roth IRA, as long as you personally, or not you personally, but people who have funded the plan in general have put at least that much into it.
Okay. Gotcha. So it doesn't include the interest and that kind of stuff.
In what needs to be contributed, you're
Yeah.
right. But
Okay.
if you contributed 100,000 and you ended up with 170,000, and at the end of it you had 32,000 left, that all qualifies.
Perfect.
It just means that what's been contributed is more than that 35,000 number, and then you can give anything that's left up to 35,000.
Wonderful. Thank you.
Absolutely. Any other questions?
So that's why they tell you not to make bank accounts for your kids these days and just put the money in these things. They're always like, don't make a bank account for your kid. Not like when we were little and you had a bank account and you went and put money in there.
Well,
We
it
also
depends.
had like those patchwork book things to do.
Yes, yes.
Well,
I mean, my
think-
kids don't have bank accounts.
So I'd say it depends. Like if they want to have just access to spending money and you think that they're responsible, I don't think there's anything wrong with having an account and having a debit card, especially because, just for say banking with us, you can have cash getting 5% in savings, FDIC insured, and then it only spends what they need to spend. And so, if they're holding petty cash and they're going to a vending machine, sure, they don't need one. And if it's worth more to you to put in a 529, of course. But if it is their money and they have a little bit of freedom to use their money, then I do think it makes sense for kids to have accounts. But of course,
Or-
that takes the discretion of the parent to understand
Yeah,
how
I guess
responsible the
better
children
than,
are.
better than
Lori,
the piggy
at this-
bank.
At this point, I mean, you'd be on your kids' accounts. My kids have accounts,
Yes.
but their father's
Yeah, they're not
PPA,
logging
so
in.
they have to sit there every time with him and fill out a deposit form and understand, but like
Hmm.
they're kind of over it. So I don't know. Waiting. But any other questions for Cody before we let him enjoy his Tuesday evening? It is Tuesday, I think, still. Cody,
Yeah,
thank you.
I can tell you a funny story about when in the 80s when I was born, my grandma made my parents buy prepaid college. Um, and I didn't use it all. And so they let me roll it over to the boys so they can use it now. So think about the growth of the money. They spent like 20 grand for 4 years worth of schooling credits. And, and I didn't use them. So they let them move it to them when they go in 15 years or
That's a winner.
12 years. Yeah,
Absolute
isn't that
winner.
crazy? From the 80s, they bought it for that. And now they get to use it.
And to go through the post.com bubble and the greatest bull market America's ever had, like that's probably an excellent account right now.
Yeah, I think they each get, well, not the little guy because he wasn't bored, but the two older ones each get 10 credits whenever they go to college.
That's amazing. That's a fantastic job. And again,
Yeah.
highlights the importance of time.
Yeah, it doesn't work like that now.
One final tip I want to give you guys is in a lot of cases, having a 529 account alone does not fund higher education. One tip I would give you guys is say you have enough in your 529 for 2 years. If you can, try to use that in the last 2 years to, again, just get the maximum time for growth as you can. You don't have to use it first. If you need to, use some of it, but don't drain it when you could have extra time.
That's actually a really good tip that I've never thought about. And working in the financial arena myself and my husband, I've never thought about it like that. So that's a really good tip to end on.
Happy to help. And hey, thank you guys so much for the time. And you guys know how to reach me, and I'd love to be a resource for the community.
Absolutely. We will send your info out for those that aren't on this call, for those that are out in the newsletter tomorrow. And I hope you enjoy the rest of your evening with your fiance.
Thank you so much. And you guys have a wonderful night.
Have a great night. So we decided to skip Robin because we don't have a quorum. We have like no one here. So basically, let's go Kristen first, if you're ready. For a Flash membership drive update, I should.
Yeah, I'll be really quick. We have a holiday flash sale going on through Friday for memberships. So all types of memberships, individual and family, get a $5 discount. So it's $10 for an individual and $20 for family. So if you haven't joined, log in there and snatch up those holiday deals. I think I'm good.
Lori, we are now live free in winter class. So do you want to give an overview?
Yes, we are all set. We have iCoding going on Tuesdays. And then we have a pottery class, which is a new one we've never done before, on Wednesdays. And then Thursdays is going to be hip hop class. So if you think your kid will be into the pottery, definitely sign up as soon as you can, because that one is going to fill up quickly. Yes, it'll be coming home in the folders on Thursday. I just saw that comment. They had some issues with confirming the classroom that it's going to be in. So that's why we couldn't advertise it as soon as we wanted to. But yeah, that'll be on Wednesdays. And I think it starts the 17th of January. And all the other ones start right after break.
Feel. Karen, you jumped on. So Yeah. Well, Original Works, we're going to
Oh, I'm here, Lauren. I'm here.
carry
Sorry.
on.
I'm sorry.
Carry on.
Oh, okay.
You're in charge.
I just saw Scott's message. Scott, I told Christiane about it. I sent her an email.
Oh, yeah, Scott, it hasn't gone out yet. It will go out. It's in the newsletter tomorrow. My draft of it, anyhow, where I have to make sure I didn't mess anything up.
Yeah, I gave the Girl Scout troop a heads up because a lot of them had asked about it when I mentioned the classes that we were doing for winter session. So as far as fundraising goes, we've had a couple of restaurant nights recently. We had Panera, and then we had Chipotle most recently, did we already go over the amount that we raised from
I think
Chipotle in the treasurer's report?
it was over 100. I think
It was like $128.
I think 117, so somewhere around there.
Yeah. Original Works. I'm sorry, did I cut you off, Lauren?
Nope.
Okay. Excuse me. Original Works fundraisers. Lauren and I are actually going in tomorrow to organize all the orders that came in, and so we will be putting those in the classrooms tomorrow to be sent home with the students. Maya, leave it alone. Thank you, though. To be sent home with the students in their backpacks and stuff tomorrow, and throughout the rest of the week. We raised about, I think it was like $640. I have to double check, and also we did leave it open until tomorrow. Actually, is the last day to order for anyone that wanted to order anything additional or that had forgotten. So I'm gonna get a final sales report probably Thursday. But I would say just under $700, around $650, $700 is where we hit. So not too bad, a little bit shy of our goal, but it's still, it's a fun fundraiser in my opinion, and we made some good money.
Stop. Well, on Chipotle that night because I didn't go. I won't lie. My boys went, and I was at Nutcracker rehearsal. So why that? Because even though we made money from them, we want to provide feedback.
Yeah, I appreciate that feedback. We are working
It
to
was
get
not. There were 25 people in line and like 4 people waiting for pickup when I got there. It was.
what? Wow, that's disappointing.
Yeah.
Ugh. All right. Well, we'll keep that in mind if we decide to do a spring one with them. I reached out. So Tommy Zeinhardt does a lot of our organizing for the restaurant nights. I reached out to him to check status on Five Guys and El Paso, which is always a popular one. And then also we thought about maybe doing And Pizza. They're pretty fun and you can customize everything. And they're over at Springfield Town Center, so not too far away. And of course, and I also was going to check the McDonald's at Bradlick because McDonald's is always a fun one, just an easy, quick one to grab. So if anybody has any suggestions or recommendations for restaurant nights, I'm always happy to take those. Otherwise, what else do we have going on other than bingo night? I think bingo night's the next thing coming up as far as fundraising goes. Oh, flocking. Flocking continues to be very popular. Lori runs that and she's doing a great job with it. So I appreciate everyone that signed up to have somebody flocked. It's been a great fundraiser for us. Any questions on Original Works or restaurant nights or anything like that before I keep talking?
The Original Works was when are they being distributed out? I'm sorry if you said I missed it.
Lauren and I are going into school tomorrow and we'll be getting those organized. So they should be going home either tomorrow or maybe give Thursday to give your teacher a chance to go through and get them sorted.
Okay.
Maybe if we know your kid, we'll pull yours.
I was gonna say I might just grab Avery's and just drop it off, honestly.
Kathleen wants to make me ill, so we'll both be there masked. It'll be fine. No, I'm kidding. But
yeah, I was masked at Girl Scouts tonight. I've been having some flashbacks to the pandemic. So I have a cold, not COVID, just clarifying. But okay, so bingo night, after winter break, I'll be working with people to see if I can get a team together, a committee to work on bingo night, the different components. I mean, things such as, obviously contacting vendors to try and get people or vendors to donate services, or gifts or goods. And I really want to try and reach out to the community. I know there's people that do things in the neighborhood, like Inger, I'm gonna get her last name wrong, like DeMontesinos. She does a lot of really beautiful sewing work and like not knit work, it's just sewing, I think, fabric work. To see if she would be willing to donate anything.
But if people want to work on the bingo night, either just setting it up, helping me run it, whatever, I'm going to be sending out a call for volunteers. And then that bingo night is Friday, March 3rd, I believe. It is Nana's birthday. Sorry. Yeah. But yeah, that's all I've got for fundraising. Down the road further, I'm looking at doing something with Nothing But Cakes. They're really delicious and they do a little, low-key fundraiser, kind of like a restaurant night type thing. But if anybody has any ideas for fundraisers or anything that they want to recommend or suggest, just feel free to let me know.
Yeah, I will make another plug for Heritage Night. If you guys know anyone that can help us staff a continent, let us know. We have people that are happy to partner, maybe not take lead. So like it would be a good partnership. We're not trying to do anything crazy this year. We're trying to get bodies in the building, for lack of a better thing. Just so we have something that we can all enjoy. And then once we're past that, I mean, Karen's underestimating bingo night. I think we need people of all sorts. Some people are better at reaching out to request donations. Some people can reach out and ask for sponsorships, and it all comes together. So
or just the admin side, like making the signs, etc., like labeling things.
So it takes a village, as I said earlier today, for something else. I don't know what, but yeah, I mean, there are plenty of volunteer opportunities. So I feel like people still are very overwhelmed with trying to get involved, and I hope, I hope by the time I leave this job, they aren't so overwhelmed, or at least some of them aren't, because there are very, very different jobs they can do. It can be like cutting out paper at night. It can be writing for donations. It can be physically staffing an event. But there are a lot of things people can do, and so I hope you all help me spread that word. Bless you.
Do you think no, sorry. Bless you. Do you ever make a sign up genius for the volunteers, like for bingo night? I mean, Bobby just would text me and be like, do blah 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 blah. Like for people that don't know, like if you're like, we need you to do this, like if you throw it in their face more, like we need someone to write letters, sign up to do that. We need someone to
bingo night last year. We had sign up geniuses. I had a section in the newsletter that was ongoing volunteer activities that was like, bingo night, please sign up for XYZ. Please sign up.
Okay, you did do that.
Spelling bee for this. Please sign up for people.
I just plan on harassing everybody that I know. Similar to what Bobby did last year. No, I mean, I definitely want to reach out and try to get people to volunteer that I don't already know that are in the community, especially, parents maybe that have younger kids that haven't done a lot of work in the school yet or had a chance to be involved in the school yet. And I plan on putting out specific tasks. Like I need someone to set up the online auction site if that's the route that I decide to go, which is my hope, is to do an online auction versus in person.
I will set you up with that person that can help you.
I can't hear you. What?
I should set you up with Carson from Member Hub to help, like the Member Hub person for the online auction.
No, my brain is foggy. I'm sorry. I don't know.
We'll talk tomorrow.
Okay. But yeah, I think it's important to specify exactly like the task involved, like the ask that I'm having, like for spring fair, we have like very specific ask that we have, like create these, stuff these, 12 envelopes or, create 40 strips of tickets or what have you. Something like that, where it's like, time requirement estimate is like, 30 minutes or what have you.
Yes.
But yeah, I agree with what you're saying, Lori. It's important to really be clear about what you're looking for and how much time it's involved.
Yeah, I like that idea with the time, because I think a lot of people's fear is they think it's a huge commitment.
Yeah,
when it's not. Like you can sign up to do something where you're not signing your life away. You're signing like 2 hours.
exactly. Anything else for fundraising?
I'm good.
All right, I'm gonna cover my face then so I can blow my nose.
Can you guys hear me? Because
Yes.
yeah, okay, maybe I just have to yell at my computer. But
You sound better now than you did.
I'm sorry, this is weird. But I guess with the lack of attendance and the lack of ability to vote for anything like meeting approval minutes, we will adjourn this meeting unless anyone has any opposition or anything else they want to talk about. We good?
Yes.
Robin?
Just everybody keep surviving this
And-
week.
Yeah, survive this week. I know.
Make it till Friday evening.
No, I've got to make it through the 31st year end for financial institutions.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
I think so.
work for a bank, they say. It's all good. But
All right, I'm
good
gonna
night,
stop
guys.
recording.